Hey, good evening, everybody, and welcome to Pop Go the Writers. And kind of a weak one today.
Yeah, the timing was off.
That's better.
I like that. Sounded good.
Yeah, got to get in just the right spot. How's everybody doing, Jim? How are you, sir?
I feel like I've gotten a reputation already now because you contacted me about an hour ago to make sure that I was awake. So I feel very embarrassed now that I seem to have a new reputation.
I didn't contact you because I was worried. I contacted you because A, I wanted to run by what I was thinking of us talking about tonight,
Okay.
and B, because I was already on here. I actually started setting this up at 4:30,
Okay.
and because, like I said, we've behind the scenes. You guys aren't going to see anything, but behind the scenes, I'm now using the experience of StreamYard, and it's going to broadcast normally on Sunday nights to my Twitch, my YouTube, and my Facebook, as it always has. But we replay on the experience, and it doesn't make sense for me to run to have a StreamYard subscription at a couple hundred every 2 years when I could just use the experiences.
Hmm.
So that's why I ended up moving it over. So I was already on making all the changes, making sure we had the graphics and whatnot put up, and so yeah, that's why you got it early because normally I'm coming in here at 5 minutes till going shit.
No, I was wide awake tonight.
Good, good. So by the way, I was going to show this off. This is by the way, this is don't tell anybody I'm doing this. This is between all of us here
Oh,
because
okay.
it's a gift for somebody who might watch the show sometime. But
Oh, I like that one.
yeah, but the neat part is going to be once I'm done crocheting it.
Oh, I was gonna say it had a Shazam or maybe a Flash vibe to it, and look, and there you go.
Yep. So it's a gift for somebody I know who is a very big Flash fan.
Wonderful.
So
They're probably very sad that Flash is ending.
they are. But we're going to get a Flash movie, and we'll probably get more Flash stuff. So you
I
know,
saw a fake I saw a fake trailer for the Flash movie. That it's funny. It just like a lot of these fake trailers. It was actually done very well. That the everything that they grabbed from and I'm not sure what Michael Keaton movie that they were using, but he looks old in it, and it was fascinating. You wanted to believe it, but you know damn well that the trailer has not been released yet.
yeah. I think the Flash was going to end either way. I think.
Hmm.
Um, oh, what's his name? The guy that played Grant Gustin.
Hmm.
Grant Gustin's been doing it for 9 years now,
Whew.
10 if you count his appearances on the Arrow.
Hmm.
And after that long, I mean, it's rare that somebody is on a show, these, marathon things like Alan Alda was on Flash or Mariska Haggerty on
Hmm.
Law and Order SVU.
Yeah.
It's or even Mark Harmon on NCIS.
Hmm.
Eventually, they want to move on. They want to do different things, and that's understandable.
Absolutely.
So the fact that he wants to move on, he wants to do other things, but so I had a feeling it was going to end anyway. But with the deal that Time Warner made with CW, Time Warner and Paramount, which was basically they went to another company and said, "Well, you can have, I think it's 80% of the company,
Hmm.
but you got to take the debt. You don't have to pay us anything. You just have
I
to take the
remember
debt."
this. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, that company specializes in doing networks that are pretty much unscripted, you know,
Yeah.
cost efficient shows.
Right. Right.
So something as expensive as that, or like I doubt Superman and Lois will continue. If it does,
I,
it'll probably move over to HBO Max.
I feel like it's Yeah, I can't imagine that's going. So what is the longest running superhero TV series? Is it this?
I think it's Smallville.
Oh, how many years was Smallville?
Smallville went 10 seasons. And
Oh,
this is going to be the 9th for Flash. And
okay.
it was 7 for Arrow.
Okay.
Or was
I
it
was
8?
thinking that it might have been Flash, but I forgot all about Smallville. I know that ran for a while.
Yeah.
Huh.
If you think about it, Smallville went right into Arrow. The next season was Arrow. So we've had a superhero show on the air
Mm-hmm.
since 2001.
Wow.
I think it is, or right around that.
Hmm.
And if you, and the real scary part is the longest running character to be consistently on TV would have been Green Arrow now.
Yeah, isn't that funny?
I know, because he was a major part of Smallville for a
Uh-huh.
large chunk of it,
Uh-huh.
and Arrow.
Did they have a Flash on Smallville?
They did, but it was Bart Allen, and he wasn't on that often.
Right.
They had
Fascinating.
Cyborg, Flash, and Aquaman.
Aquaman.
Aquaman is the guy who's currently playing Hawk on Titans, and Jack Reacher on Amazon Prime.
Mm,
Richard
that's great.
Richardson, Alan Richardson,
That's great.
yeah, who was good as. What's funny is here we're going on DC thing. Alan Richardson played Aquaman on an episode of Smallville,
Uh-huh. Yep.
and they wanted to do a spinoff
Right. I remember.
because of how well it was received.
They
But
did a pilot though, right?
they did a pilot,
Yeah.
but at some point they decided, you know what, we need an actor who's a little better established to lead the series. Where Alan Ritchson, he's okay for a guest, but to lead the series, and they ended up switching over to, I can't. What's funny is the guy that they cast ended up being Green Arrow on Smallville.
Oh, that's funny.
And then from there, he went on to This Is Us. So he's
Uh-huh.
been on the air for a long time too.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, they switched, and they even had Lou Diamond Phillips playing his dad in it.
It's a small superhero world.
Yep. Yeah. Before we jump into the topics we've decided on,
Mm-hmm.
I do want to mention, and I don't think you've had a chance to watch it because I don't think you have Peacock.
No.
No, and I'm surprised if anybody has Peacock. I only have Peacock because it was free with my cable service,
Okay.
and they had the Lost Symbol, which I'm a big Dan Brown fan.
All right.
So, but they have that new show, Poker Face,
Don't think I've
which
heard of
is
this one.
this is from the guy that did the Star Wars movie everybody hates, Rian Johnson.
Right.
It's from Rian Johnson.
Everybody but me.
Right, but they all love The Glass Onion and Knives Out.
Right.
And his previous stuff, they just don't like the Star Wars one.
Right.
And I had no problem with his movie. My problem was with the movie prior to it. But this is from him, and it stars Natasha Lyonne, or Lyon, however she pronounces her name.
Mm-hmm.
But it's one of the weirdest shows I've ever seen because it starts up and it feels like it's a 1970s television series. It's got the old style credits. It just kind of they're panning along the carpet at a casino,
Mm-hmm.
and it just comes up Poker Face, and just starts doing the credits and stuff in that old yellow lettering style.
Yeah, sure.
I half expected the episode to be called "A Trout in the Milk." Yeah.
Does it take place in the 70s?
It's hard to say.
Well, I mean, do people have cell phones?
Yes, they do have cell phones.
Okay, well then it doesn't take place in the 70s.
But everybody's dry. It's like it's kind of vacuous, where it's just kind of the cell phones are the only thing that and metal detectors. But like she drives an old car. All the cars we see are old cars. She lives in a tiny trailer in the middle of the desert. but she has this ability just to know when people are lying. And she used it to gamble and make quite a bit of money, but got caught and blacklisted by a casino owner who then put her to work as serving drinks at his club. And she ends up mixed up in this whole murder mystery thing. And by the end of the first episode, she's on the run.
Of course.
Yeah, but for an interesting reason. Not for the reason most people would probably think, but it was surprisingly good. But I had expected more humor. Having watched Knives Out and Glass Onion, I kind of expected it to be funnier. But it was good, but it really did feel like an old 70s detective series. Mixed in like if Rockford File met the Hulk.
The Hulk?
Well, yeah, the fact that he had to move on from town to town.
Oh, I get it. Okay. I was like,
there it
wait
is.
a minute, I must have missed something. I don't remember you saying there was a radioactive mutated person.
Let's go with Rockford File meets The Fugitive.
Okay, that's good.
That's a better,
How I feel sorry for TV shows these days. I don't know. It's like there's so many TV shows. Every time I talk to anybody, it's like, have you watched? And then, it's so funny. It's like, I don't know how any of these shows survive or get watched when, there's just too much.
Well, yeah, and there's all these tiny little networks and stuff.
Right,
it's like, everybody's like, oh, Ted Lasso is great. Ted Lasso's on Apple Plus. The odds of me getting Apple Plus is so far down the list. Or I saw another one that's on MGM Plus. I'm like, what in the hell's that?
MGM Plus.
Yeah.
Huh.
Or A&E Plus has one as well. It's like, or what was the other one? I was watching Bosch on Amazon Prime, and suddenly I see the new season of Bosch, which is Bosch Legacy. They're changing the show up. Is going to be on Freevee, and I'm like, okay, what in the hell is a Freevee? It's Amazon Prime. It's just.
I watched something once on Freevee. Is that right? It's okay. It's Amazon.
Yeah, it's Amazon Prime, but it's free. Basically, you can watch it without paying.
Yeah, sure. I think it has commercials, though, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, I just like Titus Welliver, and sadly, one of the actresses from there, and also Picard, and a ton of other things like Runaways, Annie Wersching, passed away today.
Yeah. Have they said how? From
cancer?
What? Okay.
Yeah, they didn't get.
I mean, what
see what type of cancer, but it was cancer.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, she was just on Picard, right? The previous season. Yeah.
Yeah, she's playing the Borg
Queen.
Yeah, the Borg Queen. Yeah. So, and she was just on Runaway. She was a regular on Runaways, and that's how I found out. Was James Marsters posted about it.
She was on 24.
She was on 24. Just a ton of shows. I mean, she had a really good resume. But
about 45 years old, right? Something like that.
Yeah. Yep. All right, let's go ahead and switch on to the thing you want to talk about. The trailer for season 3 of The Mandalorian, and my mother. Cannot. She'll come out and she's like, I'd really like to watch this. Yeah, Mom, that's a movie. It's going to be in the theater when it comes out. We can go, or
Okay.
But she doesn't really usually have facts. It's more vague, or Jack in the Box has this new thing. What is it? I don't know, but it's a new thing. And I want it. Okay, I'll see what.
God love him.
Yeah, she's going to be 80 in 2 weeks, or 3 weeks. Right. So, God love her. But she came up to me the other day. She goes, "The Mandalorian's returning on March 1st, right?" I'm like, "You've got a specific date?"
Suddenly, you have entered the Twilight Zone.
Yeah. We were doing movie night. She had never watched the Star Wars movies.
I remember you saying that. But did she watch Mandalorian?
Yes.
Season 1 and wow.
Well, we went through and did Monday movie nights, and we watched we watched all but the sequels. We never got into those. And then we went into The Mandalorian, and she watched both seasons and loved it, and has like a Grogu clock, has a little Grogu figure on her thing. She has a Grogu T-shirt. Um, yeah, she is just absolutely enamored with Grogu.
Wow.
So she's like,
Wow.
yeah.
As they say in Guys and Dolls, there's a right broad.
Yeah, which means I have to set it up so we can watch
Book of Boba Fett.
Book of Boba Fett. Yes, at least
those 2 episodes.
Yeah.
So I don't really have to watch the rest.
Right. So I'm going to bring a theory back up that I think we're going to finally get to on Mandalorian. But what were your initial thoughts on the trailer?
It's obviously, it seems very focused on the storyline. I mean, I don't think there's really any doubt about what's going on in this season. It's all about getting Mandalore back, or it's like a civil war to kind of. I mean, again, it's like I didn't feel there was anything vague about about it at all. And it looks like a progression in Grogu as far as using the Force.
Yeah. Well, I think it's not the only story we're going to follow.
Okay.
Because there is the one scene which appears to be on Coruscant, where Dr. Vergine is driving along, and he's the cloning guy. Right. So there's still going to be story. So I have a feeling there's going to be this backstory, and it'll lead to whatever season 4 is.
Yeah, well, that they're still going to pursue the whole thing about bringing Palpatine back. Somehow Palpatine returned.
Yes, I've heard that.
Yeah, and that's very interesting. It's funny because I just rewatched the trailer again, and I'm trying to dredge things back up from it. Lots and lots and lots of Mandalorians. I did notice that.
It does look like the Armorers group returns to Navarro and starts shooting the place up.
Yeah, I think that's when they do that the drop.
Yeah,
when they're coming down on it, that looks like Navarro.
Well, yeah. See, the drop. You're right. It does look like Navarro, but I think what's happening is that's going to be part of the battle, because I think that's Death Watch, which is Bo-Katan's group dropping. But there's another scene where they're shooting up the place, and it's Paz Vizsla.
Yeah, I saw that.
The heavy gunner, and he's part of the Armorers group.
Right.
And if my theory is right, it's going to be Bo-Katan's group versus the Armorers group.
Yeah.
And there's a really good reason for it.
Yeah. Well, I would assume that Din is against Bo-Katan because he has the dark saber and she doesn't.
Well, I don't necessarily think that's going to be the case.
No?
No. I think it's going to be she's going to play it close to the vest while they waiting for her chance to take the dark saber back. But I think he's going to be sided with her, and I think it's going to put him at odds between the two of them, because there's something about the Armorer, and if you haven't watched the Clone Wars, most people won't pick it up. But if you've noticed, on top of her helmet are these little horns.
Yeah.
Those horns are a group that basically pledged loyalty to Darth Maul. Because there was a point where Mandalore was being run by Satine Phoenix. Satine Kryze, excuse me, not Satine Phoenix. Satine Phoenix is somebody else. Satine Kryze. Satine Kryze, who was in love with Obi-Wan Kenobi and vice versa, was murdered by a group called the Death Watch, led by Darth Maul, who tried to take over the planet. Bo-Katan was part of the Death Watch. It was led by Gar Saxon, Darth Maul, Pre Vizsla, the ancestor of Paz Vizsla, probably his dad.
Short for pre-visualization.
Yeah, it was a joke, but he was both of them were voiced by
Favreau.
Yeah, Jon Favreau.
Yeah.
And a character named Rook Cast. Rook Cast is a female, and she ended up sticking with. So when they took over and they killed Satine and took over Mandalore, Bo-Katan bailed from the group with her group, and that's what became the spin-off Death Watch group. While the rest of them followed Maul, they repainted all their armor black and red, and they put horns on their helmet to show an allegiance to Maul. He was just going by Maul at that point. Now Maul ends up, of course, getting killed later on. The Separatists show up with Count Dooku and take over the planet, and then they end up destroying the planet. All this stuff. Those that were part of the Pre Vizsla and Gar Saxon's group with Rook Cast all end up on Concordia on the moon of Concordia.
Right.
Or is the moon called Concordia? I don't remember. Anyway, and we know that the Armorer was on Concordia when Mandalore was destroyed by the Empire. So she and Bo-Katan have this animosity towards each other.
Do you think that what will potentially be revealed, it would not necessarily just be maybe like the Armorer's motivations or connections, but do you think it's going to be revealed that she is a character that has already existed?
I think she's Rook Cast.
Okay, that's what you're saying then.
Yeah,
okay.
I think she is Rook Cast. I think that's going to fuel the fire between the two groups, because both the leaders hate each other.
Yeah.
And the other tidbit that makes me think it is, I'm trying to remember how it worked. I think the person who's playing her on the TV show doesn't have an English accent, but the character in the animated series does. So the woman is doing an English accent on the show. It's something like that. I don't remember exactly what it is because it's not the same actress.
Right.
Because if they did, but there's that extra little step, like, okay.
Is there anything in the Rook Cast character that you would believe like that she could become the Armorer, as far as being able to work with armor and the forge and all of that? Is there?
Oh, well, the fact that she's basically was left on Concordia for like 15 years.
Okay.
Not able to, exiled there, so she would have to do something.
I'm assuming that when this season begins, that Din does not want the throne.
Right.
But my assumption would be that he's going to see that it might be a means to an end, and do it. And then, of course, if he declares himself or whatever, there's going to be Mandalorians that are not going to want to follow him if he's just sort of coming out of nowhere. But that he's he's basically adopted. He wasn't born into the Mandalorians.
But most Mandalorians are foundlings.
Is that what it is? Okay.
Yeah. It's not that rare.
Okay.
But
and do you believe that Grogu is I watched an Easter egg video that put forth that they say that they think that Grogu is becoming a Mandalorian in a sense.
I think he's training him in a way,
Mm-hmm.
but
I mean, he's got the little, the chainmail thing that's made out of Beskar,
yeah.
and I don't know. I just and he's a foundling, I mean, I don't think he's going to start wearing a little helmet or anything like that.
If anything, he might end up being the leader. He might end up taking.
Well, that's what this video put forth. The screen crush. They said that he might become, I don't know. I think that's kind of funny.
Well, the Darksaber was created by a Mandalorian Jedi.
Right. Oh yeah. Oh right. Yeah. Yeah. I know. They said, "Oh, he's going to be the next, the Mandalorian Jedi." So listen, we see another flashback, or it's got to be with the Jedi and everything, but something is coming through the door.
Yes, on the Order 66 again, or something.
Yeah. So they, some are saying that okay, that's Anakin. And some are saying no, it doesn't seem like it's like a saber trying to come through the door. I I actually can't believe it, but I actually think I like the idea of an Anakin cameo. But boy, they better get Grogu out of there if that's what's
See,
going on.
that's my concern is that I think if it's Anakin, they're all going to die. And we know that's not the case.
Yeah, I mean, maybe literally it could be that literally that's the scene right after Grogu is taken out. Like they're blocking and he goes for whatever reason, and then it's and I mean they have Hayden Christensen around, they probably say like we want you to cameo in this show, in this show, in this show. Let's do it, in this set of days. Let's get these cameos, knocked out right here and now. I mean, they have him, right? And he seems to be into it again, so just use him.
The only way I could see, or one of the ways I could see that working, is if he goes through and Grogu is able to hide because the fight just keeps moving and Grogu, and then somebody comes in and takes him away. But I think the only person that could come and take him away at that point, if Anakin is actively fighting in the area, isn't necessarily a person, it's a droid. And it's R2. R2 opens up a little door, Grogu goes in, he closes the door, and he wheels on out.
I don't know about that, but well, okay, Grogu and R2 saw each other in the final.
And there's that little happy moment.
And obviously now we realize that like R2 has been lying to us all,
Oh yeah, R2's a bastard.
Yeah, all along. I don't know if I felt there was a recognition scene there. Okay, I can't get on board with that one right now. I know that some of the other speculation is that it's I'm trying to think of the name of the Jedi. It's a female Jedi. And shoot, I don't know why I want to keep saying the name Barriss Offee. Is that
there is a Barriss Offee? Yes.
Yeah, I don't. Does she escape? Do we know? Does she?
I don't know what happens to her, but I do know that last time we saw a scene with him in the Order 66 thing, there was a symbol on the door that matched her.
Oh.
So that she is a possibility.
Okay.
So.
Okay.
Jay, you're a little ahead of us on a conversation. We haven't got to that one yet. We're talking Mandalorian right now. We're about to get to that. So the two things I think we're going to find out is I think we will find out how Grogu escapes the temple.
Yep.
And I think we will find out who the armorer is, because I think that's going to be a major key to this civil war between the Mandalorians. I think a lot of Mandalorians will, any Mandalorian that would follow Bo-Katan will follow Din Djarin because he has the dark saber
Yes.
and he won it properly.
Yeah.
Anyone who follows the armorer probably doesn't care about the dark saber and is is set up differently.
Yeah.
So that's why I think there's going to be a civil war, and I think eventually there'll be a betrayal.
Yeah.
You
Well,
know,
the Armorers sect is just that. They're a cult
mhm.
because it's not normal Mandalorian policy that about the keeping your helmet on thing. So
Right, and I think
Din is probably going to break that thing down.
well, his reason for going back to Mandalore is to
Yeah.
cleanse the waters, to get back in good graces, but with
Right,
his
but then if he starts to find out things, it could literally be like it doesn't mean it gets to a point where it doesn't mean anything to him
exactly.
anymore. Yeah, and then once he's there, he starts learning more and more and more about the situation and takes a hand in it, I guess.
Yeah, yeah, Jay, I agree. I was kind of done with Star Wars after the sequel trilogies and just was burned out. I waited a long time to watch the final one,
Hmm.
but then Mandalorian came on. I'm like, I'll give it one episode. We'll see what it's like, and just fell in love with it. So
See, for me, it was just okay. I get more Star Wars because I've never gotten burnt out on Star Wars. I'm still a fairly happy camper when it comes to Star Wars.
yeah,
Uh, I don't follow the animated show, but the shows, but it's not because I hate the idea or anything like that. Maybe it's almost like there's just too much, out
yeah.
there. You're watching Bad Batch?
I'm watching Bad Batch, so I can
Okay.
cover it on the Dan Wickline show.
Yeah. How is it stacking up to the previous season so far?
This season's better.
Hmm?
It's a little less um, all about Omega. It's a little more diverse. They're spending time with the individual characters.
Hmm?
They're going new places. It's more of a television series this season.
Hmm.
They're actually doing one and done episodes.
Where do you think it's going to go? I mean, do you feel like this has got to be it? There can't be another season after this, or
I don't know because they really haven't given us an overarching story for this season.
hmm.
So if they're just going to do one episode, these little one-shot episodes
Hmm.
and move it along incrementally, then I don't see why they couldn't just keep doing it because becomes almost like the A team.
Yeah,
They
sure.
just go in to help somebody here. They go and help that person there.
Yeah.
So,
But
you
even
know,
the
it,
A team came to an end.
but yeah, but after a very long time.
Yeah. There just had it was like a three-parter or something in fifth season where the court martial actually happened.
Yeah.
And I love it because at the end of it, Murdoch comes in and says that he's been given a clean bill of health from the mental hospital or something like that. He's no longer crazy or something like that. And I said, well, that's the end of the show right there, right?
Murdoch was always my favorite.
Mad Dog Murdoch.
Yeah. Howlin' Mad Murdoch.
Yes. I I love that you love that, Jay. Thank you.
All right. Let's go ahead and move on to it stems from a couple things. One is a quote from Kevin Feige,
Hmm.
who said, people keep asking about superhero fatigue. I don't think there'll ever, this is a rough version of his quote. Uh, People keep asking about super fatigue. I don't think there ever will be superhero fatigue because it's the equivalent of somebody coming in after Gone with the Wind going, well, just how many more books do you think they can turn into movies before people get tired of it?
Yeah. Yeah.
Because they do. Every Marvel movie tends to be its own genre, tends to be its own little thing.
Especially now, right?
Yeah.
Especially now after Endgame. I respect if people say that and think that they are feeling that fatigue. I don't personally get it. I've waited all my life to get to this point. In the 70s, and the sparse superhero stuff that we got, and obviously a lot of it not that good because they just couldn't do things that well then. And then, just to have this 12, 13 years now, I just love it. I look at the Marvel movies, and I think I said this before, as like a big TV series that everyone is another episode. It's no, it's like keep building this universe. That's why I watch the ones that I might not necessarily like the property that much. I watched Ms. Marvel not because I had any affinity for Ms. Marvel whatsoever, but because it's part of the greater whole.
Mhm.
I
I
I
had,
I
I
don't
did,
want to not know what's going on in every corner of the MCU.
yeah, I wasn't necessarily drawn to the Miss Marvel show.
Hmm.
I, it's not a character that I'm that familiar with that I
Yeah,
like that much.
yeah,
But I love the series.
yeah. I
It's
walked
just
away
that,
and found myself entertained.
yeah,
You know,
because of the way they did it, the family around her, the things that I didn't think I would like about the show turned out to be the things I liked about the show.
Yeah, that's a good point. That's a
You
really good
know,
point.
the
Yeah,
history, the history lessons they gave us, or that we were introduced to, all
uh-huh.
of that was the part that finding out things about the world's history that I never knew about, that
Yeah,
I've never been
exactly.
introduced to.
Yeah,
It was
the
just, to
partition
me,
and
it was a
all.
lot very interesting.
Yeah, yeah,
You know?
totally agree. Dan, I just rewatched Loki
Hmm.
and liked it even more.
Yeah.
And again, I remember back when the first batch was announced of the this is what we're going to get from Disney Plus Marvel shows. And I remember that Loki, I did a thing on Facebook where I said, okay, everybody take what we know we're going to get and rank them as far as what you're looking forward to. And I think Loki was at the bottom of my list. And it's actually one of my favorites. And I think I liked it even more when I watched it again. And now I'm really, really looking forward to Loki season 2. But you know what? That was a success on every level. I think they just everything, especially character wise. I mean, it's like I realized how much I miss Sylvie and
Yeah.
want to know what's going on with her now.
If we get to it, I have an interesting theory that involves all of that, but we'll save that for the last conversation if we get to it.
Yeah, yeah,
But yeah, I think as long as they keep doing different things, because I mean, Lisa was telling me the other day, I'm just getting so tired of all these superhero movies.
I, with respect to her, what does that mean? I don't get that kind of a statement. Well, you know
Yeah.
what? Then kind of just I guess like stop watching them, or I don't know.
Well, I think the problem is that there's been some bad ones.
Yes, but that could be chalked up to that they're experimenting now, and
But
that's
no, I don't
bound
mean
to
I
happen.
don't mean just Marvel.
Oh, sure.
I
Oh, well,
mean,
yeah. Well, yeah. Marvel's track record is way better than
yeah, but
DC's,
you look at the
obviously.
DC ones, you look at Bloodshot. You look at the Bloodshot movie.
Mm,
It was decent, but it wasn't great.
mm-hmm.
It had some issues. I think the number one thing for me on the Bloodshot thing is the main actor doesn't have that great of range, and had they given it to somebody else, it
Mm-hmm.
could have been a better movie.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
Mm-hmm.
I thought the rest of the movie was pretty good. I thought the weak point was Vin Diesel.
What is your take on the reception for Black Adam? I mean, is it considered to have been a hit, or is it considered to be just another superhero movie?
It's just another superhero movie.
Okay.
And my fear is that most of the stuff we're getting from DC through the end of this year are going to be that same thing. It's like I watched the trailer for Shazam: Fury of the Gods, and the first one gave me that same feeling I got from the first Shazam movie.
Mm-hmm.
which I know a lot of people loved.
Mm-hmm.
But the second trailer, it took all of that out of it. There wasn't the heart and there wasn't the humor that you associate with that. The whole idea that Billy Batson's this teenager who suddenly becomes, this most powerful mortal or whatever they used to call him.
World's mightiest mortal.
Yeah, world's mightiest mortal.
Well, you know why? For one thing, that quote unquote kid is like older now. He's barely a kid, it
Yeah.
seems like to me. The one thing that I watched the trailer and I said, "Oh, that's nice." I wasn't going to go see the movie anyways, but it's okay because they showed me the entire movie. I mean, talk about not holding anything back. It seems
Oh
to
yeah.
me that I could say I saw that movie just from watching the trailer.
Yeah. I mean, it felt like your typical superhero movie. It didn't
Yeah.
feel like anything special at that with the new trailer, but also we see that the family is losing their powers, and it's like, oh, great, the second movie trope of the hero loses their power.
Mm-hmm.
It's like,
Mm-hmm.
how do we really have to do that all the time? I mean,
Well,
Marvel's gotten away from it, but do we still need that?
it might be a case of somebody at Warner's or DC or whoever saying maybe that was a mistake to have a gigantic family of Shazam people.
Yeah.
Like maybe that's like too much. I mean, literally in the old days, it was three. It was Billy, Freddie, and Mary.
Yeah.
And that sometimes that even seemed like a lot.
Yep. But they were doing it in the comics for a while now with the
Mm-hmm.
bigger family. But
Mm-hmm.
yeah, I don't know. Shazam's never been a favorite character of mine. I don't like it when he shows up and stuff.
See, he's always been a huge favorite of mine, and that's why it kind of hurts to not feel like going to those movies. I know why they have to say Shazam. I get it. I totally get it. I can sit and complain about, oh, he needs to be called Captain Marvel, but that's water under the bridge. Marvel won as far as that goes, and DC lost. And they have to do I just read a series in the comics called the New Champion of Shazam, I think it is, and it was all Mary. The whole miniseries and it was actually good, but it's just so weird because the public knows that this hero is called Shazam. The whole public knows the magic word. I mean, it
Yeah.
doesn't work for them, but I don't know. It's just, and then the superhero community is doing the same thing. They're all calling that person Shazam, and it's just like growing up where that was a secret word and it had power in it. And that's another thing is that what a shame that got away somehow from either Fawcett or DC over the years, that Shazam, it's like they have to call it Shazam, but they don't even own that word. Well, there's products, or there's something out there called Shazam, and I'm trying to remember what it
Oh,
is.
it's a phone app
Yeah, I
that
mean, there's no
recognizes
way
music.
that's like they license that from
No, probably
DC.
not.
Yeah. And I'm wondering and I don't know, like, I don't know if it had anything to do with if anybody argued that DC didn't own that word because of like Gomer Pyle always saying it. I don't know how that was argued, or again, if it's literally just that they didn't trademark and copyright the name Captain Marvel, and they didn't bother to do that with Shazam either. So I don't know. They're in a bad situation with that
Yeah.
character, in my opinion.
We should just put the character away and not use them.
That would be very, very sad because
Yeah.
I love the basic costume and all of that. Yeah, that would be very, very sad. But sometimes I think that is almost the best thing to do. I feel that way with Star Trek right now. Just stick it away. Stop doing stuff with it and stick it away at least for a while.
Jay says, do you think that could be part that people think the next movies won't mean anything, or that the trailers these days just show too much. I think he means a lack of enthusiasm and superhero overload and stuff.
Um,
Um, I think there's a good possibility that people not believing these movies are going to matter, which is funny because it used to be that none of these movies were connected, and you never knew if you were going to get a sequel. So,
mhm,
you couldn't count on that.
mhm.
You just went to enjoy it. And I think there's a better than average chance that they aren't going to matter. But um, I don't know if trailers give away too much.
I think they do. I
Yeah.
really and especially this one. It almost makes me want to say that they don't have confidence in it, and let's just everything but the kitchen sink in that trailer.
Well, I don't think they have confidence in it.
Mm,
I think that's why we're getting a whole new universe.
mhm, mhm.
You know, I mean, it was one of the better performers in the DC set of movies up until now. But
Did I see correctly that it comes out on the same day as Quantumania? I think
no,
I March 17th. It's not okay,
uh, no,
or
what made
February 17th.
no, I don't think that's right. Let
Oh,
me check.
you know what? Maybe it's okay. Quantumania is February 17th, and
17th, yes.
maybe Shazam is March 17th.
I know it's March, but
Okay,
yeah.
okay. Because I was gonna say, how stupid of DC and Warner's to
Well,
put.
originally it was set to open the same weekend as Avatar: Way of the Water.
Oh boy.
Yeah, so which is just continuing to eat up the box office because nothing has come out opposite of it.
Hmm.
Basically and I mean, it's getting low enough that there's a horror movie coming out this weekend, or is it next weekend, that might knock it off. But if not, it's going to be Ant-Man's going to be the first thing to come along that could knock it off in the first place.
Yeah.
You know?
I am now very convinced that Quantumania will matter. I it's obvious now at this point that
Yeah.
this is not just the third Ant-Man movie.
Oh no, no,
Yeah.
and it's yeah. I
I
mean,
mean,
this
it
is
took me a while to get to that point, and I'm really starting to realize that now. And they're saying things like what goes on between Kang and Scott Lang is akin to the connectivity between Thanos and Tony Stark. That
yeah.
that's the same idea.
Well, Kevin Feige came out and said
Hmm.
that Ant-Man has been around. He's got legacy, and he's earned the right to star in the multiverse saga.
Hmm.
Which I've never thought that they were going to kill the character off, at least not now. I
Hmm.
think he's going to be a major part. More likely, they're going to Tony Stark him at the end of the saga.
Hmm. Hmm.
He won't make it through uh, um, Secret Wars.
Secret Wars. Well, I guess Marvel Studios said we don't have Robert Downey Jr. We don't have Chris Evans. We do have Chris Hemsworth, maybe, but maybe not anymore now. But and they say who else? And Paul Rudd is a big star, obviously.
Yep.
So I can totally see why they said let's really look at him and see how much weight we can place on his shoulder, on his teeny tiny little shoulders.
Yep. I think it's
Um,
going to be him and Benedict Cumberbatch carrying us in the future
yeah,
through the
definitely,
saga.
yeah.
And then we'll probably get more people in the next.
And who would ever have imagined, the Marvel Cinematic Universe being carried by Doctor Strange and Ant-Man? I just love
Ant-Man's
that.
technically the first Marvel hero. Well, no, the first Marvel. Well, technically Marvel hero because they were timely, but Timely was Captain America and Submariner and Human Torch and stuff.
And Human Torch, right? Yeah.
Right, but
Well, and Hank Pym actually debuted in the monster era. He had the man in the anthill, or whatever that story was called. He had that
Field
story
Punish,
before he
yeah.
became a costume hero.
Yep. Now, something that I've been thinking about, and I've seen a couple people pop up with this, but I was thinking about before I saw anybody else talking about it too. And that was in Endgame. Well, at the end of Ant-Man and the Wasp,
Mm-hmm.
Scott goes into the quantum realm, and the rat that pulls him out, he's only in there about 5 hours.
Mm-hmm.
And he comes out and it's 5 years later.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, 5 hours in the quantum realm, right.
So what if this is what Marvel is planning? I need my wild ass speculation button that I have on my other show. What if everything that happens in this movie is taking place in the quantum realm, or most of it?
Yeah.
So if we get out of it at the end, what if there's a time jump and that the movie ends right as Kang Dynasty begins? And then everything that happens between now and then, that's hanging over the top. What if when he comes out and he goes to the Avengers to warn them or whoever, and we see the lineup we're going to get to, and it's a teaser because there's going to be characters we haven't seen yet.
What kind of a time jump I mean, I'm thinking, wow, we had a 5-year time jump, and to do another one, boy, I just don't know.
Well, see, I don't think we'll jump. I think it's going to come out in the future, and then everything we see will be in between that.
I get you. Totally get you now. Yes, right.
So
right.
The movie ends.
Right. We'll fill in that gap.
Yeah. So basically, you'll go from Quantumania right into Kang Dynasty.
Wow.
And everything that happens over the next 2 years.
When is Kang Dynasty?
I want to say it's 2025. Let me look it up.
Okay. Yeah, Jay, that's funny. I was just going to say that how much longer until Young Avengers? We got Cassie in this one as a superhero. We can't be too far away from some kind of Young Avengers, either TV series or movie. Especially now that we're getting versions of Kang.
Yeah.
And that's who Iron Lad is.
I know I'm in the minority here, but I don't want a Young Avengers lineup. But
it's here. It's here and now and happening.
The reason I don't want it is because I still think there's a ton of great stories to tell with the characters we've already got. And I wish they would spend less time introducing new characters and more time spending time with the characters we already have. But
yeah, I don't see that happening. I see that the wheel of time with new characters is going to grind on, and we're going to just keep getting because again, we're in the era of experimentation, and they're saying, my gosh, we can tap into anything now. Werewolf by Night and Man-Thing, we can do it all. And that's what we're going to get. I totally get you. I've said that every single time when I fall in love with a character, I'll say, oh, great. I have to wait like a couple of years before we get to check back in with this. Like Moon Knight. I get it. Like, it could be years before we ever see Moon Knight again.
Yeah. By the way, I don't think she's going to be called Stature. I think she's going to be called Stinger.
But it would fit with Ant-Man and Wasp.
Right. And her costume that she has in the movie is similar to her Stinger costume rather than the Stature costume.
Like purple, right? Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Kang Dynasty comes out in May of 2025, May 2nd, 2025.
Ooh,
So it's a little over 2 years.
yeah.
So I just think Marvel would blow everybody's mind if they pop out and we see a group that consists of, like part of the Fantastic Four is there, and Moon Knight is there, and just a squad that we're not expecting.
I don't believe in this thing called the Fantastic Four anymore. That's the one thing about Marvel that I'm disgruntled about. If I had to admit it, it's like I don't even want to hear anymore about this, whatever this thing called the Fantastic Four is. It's like, give it to me or just leave it alone forever. We're already so far down the road, and it doesn't seem to even be on the horizon.
No, they have a director and they have a writer.
I don't know. I need way more than that. This has been years and years now. I know they've had some issues, maybe, but if we don't get some cast announcements like really soon.
But see, I think the cast has already been. Again, if they pop up here, the cast is already done. It's just they're saving it for saving it for a surprise. And hey, more power to them. They can pull that off.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that in the credits scene we're going to have a Henry Cavill Superman cameo.
That would be
fun. I feel pretty good about that one.
Blade and the monstrous Howling Commandos. That would be funny. But even if they just have a closing scene that has Doctor Strange and Moon Knight and Photon, Monica Rambeau, and a couple characters like that standing there.
Sure.
Maybe White Vision. Just have everybody. Wait, what? What the hell team are we going to have?
Hey, before I forget, will we, in your opinion, will we ever see Jeremy Renner ever again in a Marvel movie as Hawkeye?
Will we see him? Yes. Will he be in doing action? I don't know.
Yeah. I say they write it into the character that, almost they tried to go down the road with his hearing loss, although it didn't really follow through that well. But I say, write it in that he injured him.
If he can't return to the action that he used to,
then
yes, I think they will. Yeah. I think if he can get back to where he was, but I think even more so now they will address it and do something with it. So
no, at the end of this, it's gonna your new Avengers are gonna be standing there, and it's gonna be Kate, and it's gonna be Wanda's two boys, and it's gonna be Isaiah, whatever his name is, and
I think it's gonna be the Young Avengers.
And then Kang is going to come land, but it's going to be Iron Lad. Yes, Kang. That's funny because you know what? Then it'll be two young black men in it. Then it'll be like Isaiah. I think that's his name, Isaiah. And then because Kang it'll have to be a young version of Jonathan Major.
Yep. No,
I'm sold on it. It's Young Avengers.
Just my point is that they could do this serious flash forward type of thing at the end of Ant-Man and tease the hell out of what they're doing. Yeah. And it's the only company that can do that.
Yeah. Well, I mean, sure, you go into the quantum realm and you spend an entire movie in it. It's just to come out of it and everything's just hunky dory. Once you're gone.
Yeah.
Yeah. Nope.
It should be interesting. All right, we got to wrap it up. So another hour went by quickly, and everything seemed to work. So this will make
this fatigue has made me fatigued.
So this will make Kyle happy that he doesn't have to upload it and just schedule it. So, All right.
Okay, good.
Thank you, everybody,
Anything
for
to make
tuning in.
Kyle
Thank
happy.
you, Jay. Thank you, Jim, for another great conversation. And we will see you all next week. Next week, Jim's going to convince me.
No,
Yeah,
no, I can't do. I will talk, but there's not going to be any convincing going on.
Jim's gonna state the case for why the Star Wars sequels are good. So, good night, everybody.